Hey everybody, and I just want to let you know that this is a recording, and you are all okay with being recorded?
Yes.
Yes, all right. So this is for the students who could not be in class with us today. There's a few of us, and we're going to begin today by I want to show you some things on the annotation. So we're going over to the stages of reading right now. Oh, that's weird. Why didn't that work? Let me go to my actual class.
Yeah, it didn't work out much. I tried it.
Yeah, I switched the link then. And so I'm going over the stages of reading. And if I go down to, I think you guys are all looking at the socio-cultural development of reading. All right, and I'm going to turn my annotations on. Now, see, if you see here, I'm clicking up at the top because I have the Chrome plugin on. I usually use Firefox, but I did want to show you this in case you folks wanted to try the plugin. And now if we go over to here, you can see that I'm in my group. So if I switch to public, you know, there are no annotations in public. If I switch to our group, EDU, as soon as I can find it, it's hidden under my thing. Yeah, well, I teach a lot of classes. All right, EDU 305 summer. So I switch to that group. And now you can see your annotations. So you guys are starting to go through. We're seeing a lot of people kind of annotate and those comments. Mm-hmm. Hypothesis is connected to this one. Just if you click on if you just let me pause real fast and show you. So what we did is we just compared our annotations from class. And then we looked at annotations. So here's our annotations from class. And then we looked at now I zoomed my browser. And then we looked at annotations from a group where I have been annotating with people. You can start to see different pictures. You have GIF files, YouTube videos, poems, and then people remixing poems into other YouTube videos. So I just wanted to show some contrast. So what we're going to do now is we're going to find the foundational skills, the Common Core State Standards. So if you guys just go to corestandards.org. All right.
Sorry, one more time.
Yeah, go ask a question, sure.
Oh, no,
corestandards.org.
Corestandards.org.
All right. And this is where what we're going to do today is because we're talking about phonics and phonemic awareness today, I first want to understand how the Common Core State Standards work in terms of these areas. It's critical that we know this. Now, if you're teaching preschool, these do start at kindergarten. But it's good to understand where you're going. Is anybody getting an early childhood certification, or just is everybody elementary ed here right now? Elementary ed, okay. So, well, that's perfect. So, she's early childhood. So, but you know that's an integrated certification. So it's a special ed preschool and then a K-3 certification. So it's good to know these anyways, Yi. So I'm going to click on Read the Standards. All right. And then if you click over here on English Language Arts and Literacy, you can always watch on the TV too. Down here, see where it says Reading Foundational Skills? That's where we're going to spend our time today. And let's just start at the introduction. And it tells you where these standards are
You're at the introduction
of foundational skills.
of kindergarten.
Yep. And it says, basically, children in kindergarten are expected to demonstrate an increasing awareness and competencies in the areas that follow. And that is blank right now. I don't know why. Usually it will tell you things. But if you look at grade 1, for example, actually, let's go back to kindergarten. There's a couple areas. Concepts about print. I should have hidden my video. Print concepts, phonological awareness, phonics and word recognition, and fluency. All right? So what I want to do, and I'll pause the video for this, and Kelsey, if you're on the line right now, I'll ping you. is we're going to break up into groups, or there's 5 of you, so 2 pairs, and I want to try to identify. You 2 can take concepts of print and phonological awareness. You 3 will take phonics and word recognition and fluency. All right, and I want to identify 3 things. What are 2 things really? What do you think are the skills that students need, and what are the knowledge that they need? And so we have to talk about, what do you think? What's the difference between knowledge and skill? What's the difference between, and we'll talk about the word strategy too at the same time. What are 4 things? What's the difference between?
Skills can be demonstrated. Well, I guess knowledge can be demonstrated too. But usually, like, don't skills have like, I don't know, because knowledge can have a behavioral objective too, right?
I'm asking, I don't know. Tell me, give me an example then.
I think knowledge is like the content. Like,
So knowledge is the content.
like with the California example that we read last week where the teacher said,
Who's been to California? Who knows
Yeah.
something about California?
yeah, so the child who was answering, who she cut off, had the skill to answer the question, but the other child who had been to California had the content that she
The
wanted.
knowledge. That's a perfect way to put it. So that knowing about California was the knowledge.
So the knowledge
Being
is
able to describe California is the skill. So it's not 100% workable, but a way to think about it is knowledge is the noun, skill is the verb, in a sense. And that's like any reductionist item that can cause trouble. Now, what about a strategy? What's the difference between skills and strategies? What's the difference between a skill and a strategy? And this is something very particular to the cognitive definition of literacy, the information processing views of reading. And it's usually, we'll go back to the definitions of Paris, Wasik, and Turner, who define a skill as something that is automatic. So riding a bike for you folks is probably a skill. You do it with automaticity. You don't think about it. Strategies, on the other hand, require deliberate planning. And the way that works out in reading research is we try to teach like decoding and phonemic awareness and phonics to automaticity. So that's a skill. And then, but reading comprehension, vocabulary, that sometimes takes you like, oh, do I know what this is saying? You have to stop and ask yourself, and then you have to make a plan when you don't understand. So that's where we call those strategies. But now here's the thing. If I'm 5 and I'm trying to distinguish between similarly spelled words by the sound, is that a skill or a strategy?
Strategy.
repeat the question.
If I'm 5 and I'm looking at distinguish between similarly spelled words by identifying the sounds. So if I'm looking at 2 words, I'm trying to distinguish by sounds. Is that a skill or a strategy? It is a strategy unless you've mastered it, and then it's a skill. So, that's, if you think about it, so, those definitions can change based on your skill level. But content knowledge is usually, you always attack that strategically. You can't, because you're always thinking, like, if you're trying to learn something, you're formulating a plan. You might have an inquiry question, you might have a problem. So what I want you folks to do in teams is for you to take the 2 that I assigned you and try to identify what you think are the skills and strategies involved. And for you 3 to identify what you think are, sorry, not the skills and strategies, the skills and knowledge involved. So what are the knowledge that the kids need? What do the skills need? And look at each grade band. What's changing between 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th? How is what skills that are required and what knowledge required? What's changing in each of those approaches? All right. And if you just come up with either, you can even there's a feature in Slack called Notes. If one of you wants to start, you can click on. I'll show you. If you click the plus sign, you can select a post. And so as long as one person on your team is going to make a post and share. I'll make a new channel right now for phonemic awareness, and you can make your post right in that channel. All right.
Is this module 5?
This will be module 5, phonemic awareness. But you're going through all of the. We're just doing it inside of the module 5 area. So I'm just going to make a everyone module 5 channel is phonemic, and then I'll go make the channel.
I have it all bookmarked on my home computer, but
know,
I
it
still didn't get
automatically reloads,
the password for. So I was like, oh.
Why is that still taking so long?
No, just didn't do it. Yeah, I just didn't do it.
And then that's when you log in.
Thank you.